Sweet 226 is an album I really wanted to like, but unfortunately it's plagued by one major issue. And that issue is down to the audio mixing. The instruments you can hear fine, the guitars you can hear fine, the keyboards and all that, everything that makes a symphonic power metal song you can hear. But when it comes to the vocals, it's just unhearable at some points. It's ridiculous. As an example, I'm gonna pull Let Me Go, the first song on the album. And the main reason I want to pull this is because the verses in this song are the best parts. And I was honestly surprised that Urban Breed's vocals throughout the entire song and as well as the album to segue into that. It does do some good stuff in this album. It's just a shame that you can't hear it. I mean, I am exaggerating. You can hear a lot of the choruses pretty cleanly. It's just that most of the verses are unhearable sometimes. So yeah, I'm gonna replicate it. It's like if the instruments is my voice now and the vocals in the verses is like over here. It's like you can just about hear it. It's fine. Like if you focus, you can hear it, but you won't be able to hear it normally. But you still have the music at this level, so it kind of gets drowned out. And when this is the entire album I'm speaking about, it kind of just demotivated me to listening to the entire album. I listened to it once, didn't really find a song that I ended up really liking or really finding an attachment to, and then just kind of moved on, knowing that if this album maybe had a few more months to just do some reworking in the audio department, that it could have been way clearer and just so much easier to listen to. I mean, I'm not an audio designer or anything like that, but I can tell whenever something is poorly mixed, and this entire album is just filled with it. And that's the biggest downside because a lot of work does go into this album. You can tell a lot of the melodic elements to this album with the guitars and the keyboards just work together, and it's, Sirius Black if you like that. I mean, to make this, not entirely negative, there was a few things I like about this album, and it's nothing to really do with the music. It's more to do with the theme that the album goes for, which I don't think is done quite often in power metal. You don't really get that small American town kind of asylum feel. I'm probably getting that wrong. I think it's mostly going to be just asylum feeling, American, very B movie esque in a way, and it's great. That stuff is good. It's just a shame that the album is just kind of mediocre. I mean, to say that the best part of the album is the artwork is kind of a testament to how bad the audio mixing is, and I may be exaggerating it. I don't know. I haven't really listened to the album in a day. I kind of don't really want to go back and listen to it. I mean, that's like an hour gone. I mean, I could be doing more important things. But anyway, the point that I want to really get to here is that one, this album kind of sucks. Two, you know what? Magic, the previous album, was really good, and this album tried to build upon that style, and in some cases it does succeed from that. I wouldn't call it a worthy successor to Magic, I would call it a flop. But I do like the direction that this album was going, and I do like that they were experimenting a lot more. I'm gonna bring up Let Me Go again because honestly, that's the only song that's maybe worthwhile listening to in this, maybe when the time is right if you want to listen to the other title track, but I didn't really find any of the other songs appealing at all. I mean, Sweet 226, the title track at the end, was a long one I ended up not liking for reasons I've just stated. But at least Sweet 226 can come out with one positive thing. This is an album that you should look to if you're creating music or mixing. This is a what not to do. Don't do what this album does because it ruins it. Make sure that you can hear everything fine, everything's clear. I mean, not everything has to be clear. If you want something muffled in the background, make sure it's muffled and everything sounds good. You need to think about the audio and what people hear. You need to make sure that if certain sounds are to be quiet, that they're quiet. If certain sounds are meant to be heard, they're meant to be heard. But in the case of your lead singer doing his vocals, you don't want the music overpowering him, especially when he's doing some new and interesting stuff, or doing good. You know, you just want to make sure that they can be heard, because the singer is going to be the one thing people are going to attach themselves to. I mean, look at Sabaton, look at Joachim. He is the biggest part of that band. What's the first thing a lot of people think of when they think of Sabaton? They think of mostly Primo Victoria and the intro to that song. You know, he has that voice that you can immediately attach to. You can't really do that with this album because of the audio mixing, and that's a shame. So I'm gonna use this as a lesson of when I, talk to people would ever ask me for advice, I would just point to this one and be like, don't do that. Go with your direction, but make sure everything can be heard. So to close this up, I'm going to give this just a flat 3.5 out of 10. It's got some good stuff in there. Unfortunately, the audio mixing just ruined it for me, and I refuse to go back and listen to it again.